Hey folks, really excited to share with you the fruits of our labour in the Scottish Highlands with the Dji Avata FPV drone. Let me tell you, we really did labour under some pretty miserable weather conditions, believe you me. We had some highs, we had some lows. And in amongst the incessant rain and incessant collisions, we even managed to extract some pretty great shots from this little drone. It's been a journey, so sit tight and learn from our experience and our mistakes as we talk you through the new Dji Avata drone. Throughout this video, you're going to see footage captured directly by the goggles themselves, so you can see the telemetry and you can see what I was seeing at the time of flying, and then you're also going to see what the camera captured. Unless stated otherwise, electronic image stabilization was on, so the camera view is punched in a little bit so we can have that realignment of frames for nice, smooth footage. And let me tell you, at this stage, the EIS does a great job of smoothing out those stick inputs. We still need to fly with care and control, but it really does, in the camera itself, give you a nice, smooth outcome. Neutral density filters were used throughout so we could lower the shutter speed and achieve the motion blur the eye is accustomed to seeing when watching film and television. And coming back to this issue of image stabilization, much as the in-camera EIS is very good, advanced FPV users will be pleased to know that the Avata's camera saves and gives access to the IMU's gyro data, thereby allowing stabilization to take place in post-production in a piece of software called GyroFlow for even more polished and refined results. Anyway, let's back up for a second and see how this thing flies. Big day, Alina, are you excited?
Yes.
I am excited. We have the new Dji Avata Cinewhoop style FPV drone. We're going to talk about specifications in a second, get into all the details, but you want to see it in action, you want to hear it, you want to experience it first. So let's get that on our little takeoff mound, get this thing in the air, have some fun, and we'll be back for a chat. Okay, definitely in normal mode here, so we've got full GPS. Don't want any unpleasant surprises when we take it off. Wow, there she is. Okay, any notion that this was going to be a kind of discreet, quiet drone, quiet FPV drones, I think, out the window. It's quiet, but wow, what a high pitch. Nonetheless, look at it, hold position there. We have full GPS lock there because we're in normal mode. Let's have a little look, see how handling is. That is gorgeous, very smooth. We have no forwards or sideways sensors on this, so you can easily fly into things, which is of course one of the main attractions of this Cinewhoop style of drone, is that you have those prop guards, so you are protected somewhat. So this is me just flying a manual orbit around myself in normal mode, just like I would with a Mavic. I'm just interested to see the level of control here. I have to say, this transmission signal, or the image transmitted to me in these goggles, is amazing. It looks so incredibly clear. Absolutely loving the experience of these new goggles. Absolutely, complete with their built-in antenna, these are the new smaller and more practical DJI Goggles 2. If we're comparing with the predecessor DJI FPV Goggles version 2, then these new goggles get a boost in terms of image quality, which is certainly appreciated, but maybe even more so than that are some of the design elements that make these goggles even more user-friendly. The buttons and joypad on the predecessor are replaced with a really intuitive touchpad for navigating through the DJI fly-up menus and settings. A combination of the coiled battery cable and a little clip on the battery itself might not sound like much, but it's very easy to drop the goggles battery, and with the predecessor that would yank the battery out and you'd lose your video transmission. In terms of range, if you're lucky enough to live in an FCC region like the United States, then the stated transmission range is 10 kilometers. Now here in Europe, we are limited to the CE standard, and the stated range is 2 kilometers. We tested that, we got about 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer or so, line of sight. Not bad. But what I can tell you is if you have a physical obstruction between the goggles and the drone itself, you're going to lose your transmission straight away, to be honest with you. Here in this example, we're talking about some plants, a little bit of rock maybe. Transmission was gone after 50 meters. Now in that example, the only consequence was I stuck the drone in some dirt and we were able to go and recover it without any trouble whatsoever. But check out this example, flying along nice and low, practicing some maneuvers 250 to 300 meters away. You can see the image transmission signal's really starting to struggle a little bit. So let's turn that drone around and get a stronger signal. There you go, there's the warning sign, but it's okay, we're flying back towards the home point. Image signal improves. That is until I fly the drone really low, boom, hit a twig or something. Another crash, in part because of that weak video transmission signal at all of 300 meters away. More on that later, so be sure to watch the video to the end. Right, I'm curious to see, let's find out how fast this goes in normal mode first. Let's just tear this around a little bit in normal mode and see what kind of fun we can have as a complete beginner. Okay, looks like we're hitting about 8 meters a second there in normal mode. Image looks absolutely beautiful. Indeed, for those of us coming at things from a more cinematic perspective, the 1/1.7 inch sensor really is giving us a nice, clean, low noise 4K image. This D-Cine-like image that you're seeing straight out of the camera grades really well, and it more than meets the minimum picture quality requirements for blending in with footage from other cameras in a more professional edit. One of the beautiful features of this system for FPV pilots is this visual depiction of the home point that you can see down there with an H. There's really no excuse for getting lost here. And I think that's where DJI have really nailed it with some of their FPV technologies, bringing in their traditional camera drone technology into the FPV world, especially with people who are not that experienced with FPV flying. Now speaking of which, the controller remains the same as before and retains one of the best features you could ever hope to find on an FPV drone, which is an emergency brake or panic button. Here we are flying along in manual mode. Cut the power, the drone drops out the sky like a stone. Hit the brake, wow, oof. Normal mode resumed, thank goodness for that. Well, I can tell you folks, flying this in normal mode is a huge amount of fun here with the FPV experience. It's so immersive. Now, of course, we're going to get into more FPV style flying in a second, but this is where a lot of us will start, and we're able to get some really, really nice moves. I've got full manual control here of the rotations. This is nice. Okay, I can see the drone now that the gimbal's pointed all the way down, but I think we'll pop this into sports mode and have a little bit more fun with it and see how it performs. Let's flick this little switch on the back here, turn things into sports mode. We should be able to get a bit more speed out of this and we'll get those banking motions. I think we get a little bit of assistance here with our coordinated turns. You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, 14 meters per second in sports mode. It's no slouch. And there's our sports mode FPV style. Oh, we caught a little gust of wind there, interesting. We're definitely getting some DJI assistance here in the turns to smooth out those rotations. Certainly appreciated. Our little ground indicator is giving us a sense of how low we are to the ground, 2.5 meters. Up we come a little bit. Let's turn around and see if we can see ourselves. There we are, try and ease out of that turn. Well, let me tell you folks, this is fun. I'm flying forwards at full speed here, bombing it along at 12 or so meters per second. Just enjoying this landscape. Very mindful that we have no obstacle avoidance sensors here. Keeping an eye on that little orange indicator showing how far we are from the ground, 5 meters or so. I'm not in any rush to crash this on its first flight, if I'm honest with you, so
Let's not go too crazy just yet. It's kind of fun following the lines of this river. We're definitely starting to get that FPV feel of things. Just getting some kind of shots that you wouldn't really comfortably get with a Mavic. Not get myself too confident. Interesting, we're almost out of battery. Auto return to home in 5 seconds. Wow, that didn't take long. Okie dokie. Just out of interest, because we're in a safe location here, let's allow it to do the return to home automatically. Now we've gone from perfect cam to some high wind velocity warnings as well. That's also interesting.
And it's not even that windy.
No, it's not that windy yet. It's a little 400-gram drone at the end of the day. Now it should land right here. And I don't think it's going to, so I think I'll hit the emergency brake and maybe land it myself. There we go, return to home cancelled. Pretty accurate. We're about 2 meters forward of the actual takeoff location. So I'm going to flick this back into normal mode actually. So I've got full GPS control, make life a lot easier, and see if I can just dump it down on that patch of moss again. Wasn't expecting that. Thank you, thank you. I was fully expecting to just go zoom at the last minute. What a glorious landing. Absolutely buzzing after that first flight. So much fun. As you saw, about 15-minute flight time. So portable power bank, little charger here. Let's get things on the go. We've got 3 of these batteries, but these great locations we could fly all day. So we'll get through that quickly, get these charged up. Let's get this back up in the air with battery number 2.
Folks, this is the part of our Dji Avata journey where things take a turn for the worse. The goal here is to use this exciting new FPV motion to enhance the cinematic nature of our shots. All well and good, but it's best not to crash in the process, and as you will see in a minute, there's a reason why we only have the goggles recording of this footage and not the shots from the drone itself.
I probably won't do a whole lot of talking during these maneuvers because I'm not in a rush to crash this thing. Oh yes, round we come. There's Alina, a big reveal of Alina. Love it, there she is. And we'll arc round and we'll follow the line of the riverbank. Great stuff, a nice little FPV style maneuver here. Coming down a little bit lower, keeping an eye on that altitude indicator. Don't want to go too low, tilting the gimbal up. That's cool. I think we'll leave that one at that for now. Let's go in reverse now and see if we can catch her on the way back. There she is. I'm watching Alina. I'm watching those rocks. We don't want any accidents. That was pretty sweet. Keeping an eye out for those trees. Let's descend the altitude a little bit. Come into this. Oh, yes. This is awesome. Watching out for all those branches. Okay, some power lines or something there. I think we'll leave it at that. This is coming on a treat, and we're starting to get the lay of the land here as well, with all these trees. Now the danger here is that your confidence builds up to crazy levels, and I'm not going to fire it under that road, for example. Well, actually, do you know what? I think I'll go past this one. I don't want to be taking any silly risks. I'm not in a position to lose this drone. No, I'm not going to go under there just now. So I'll just go over again because we know this one is kind of clear. Bring it down, banking in. We've got those nice coordinated turns. Straight into a tree. I crashed it somewhere here. I need to make it beep. Found it, no battery. Right, hopefully it's okay. It's been submerged, but it should be fine if it goes on a heater. Messed that up, sorry. you can learn from our mistakes. First things first, we recovered the drone, thank goodness. It was sat in the river, so completely submerged. We need to get that on the car heater now. No visible signs of damage whatsoever. Missing a battery, couldn't find the battery. If that happens to you, there's a couple of options to help you find it, and we had to use them. First of all, you can replay the last known moments, essentially, the last bit of recording. It's saved to the goggles, you can go through and find that. I already knew where it hit, but it hit the last tree on a corner going around there. Was able to clarify that. Second of all, you've got Find My Drone, please. You've got Find My Drone on the DJI Fly app, and it will save the coordinates of the last known location, and you can go track it down and hope it's in one piece when it gets there. Bit of a shame that it fell in water, because otherwise this thing is absolutely perfect, and that is the whole point of this exercise, is that you have these prop guards, it's a little bit more robust. It is solid, so, you know, full marks for build quality. Shame we lost the battery, mind you. I promise I'm not trying to shift any blame here, but this battery flew out from the looks of things when it hit a tree. Now, of course, trees can be very hard, but it's not like it flew out from the looks of things when it hit the rocks in the riverbed. And with the battery flying out, you can't make it beep, you can't, let it signal where it is to help you find it, so you are limiting your options for finding your drone. And also we've lost the battery, and batteries are expensive. It does feel pretty secure in there. You've got these two little lugs that hold it in there, but like I say, I'm just do with this information as you wish. I'm not trying to shift blame, but it would have been nice if we didn't lose the battery. I'm not gonna lie, it would have been nice. Added to that, we lost the recording as well because the battery flew out, so dunno. Learn from our experience.
Folks, the next 48 hours were brutal. Almost all of our flying dreams went out the window. As you can see, it took its toll on Alina's sanity, and don't get me started on the midges.
And this is what our pointy mountain looks like on a day like today.
In between rain showers, we did get a couple of short flights in, but I think all the raindrops on the lens of the camera give you an indication of what we were faced with. Flying the Avata in the rain is definitely not recommended, but given we dunked this drone in a river just 24 hours previously, it certainly did a good job. Given the lack of flying time, and perhaps as a result of time pressure to create content for this video, another crash was inevitable, this time with a twig. Still to this day, do not know what that was. And we sure as heck couldn't find it in the 2 hours we spent traipsing around that field trying to find the Avata.
If you had to pick a word, Alina, to describe what you think of me right now, what would it be? Right, we'll beep that out. Just crashed again. I thought, what could possibly go wrong? We'll just have a little flight in this field. It's grass. Literally nothing to crash into. It remains to be seen what we did crash into. Find My Drone activated again. Not great news, couldn't find it. Looking at the goggles view of its last 30 seconds or so, it looks like it hit some grass. Battery came out, I couldn't make the thing beep. I could do the Find My Drone, I could find supposedly the exact location it came down. We're both trudging around looking for it, couldn't find it. If I could have made the thing beep, we'd have found it within seconds.
Back in the comfort of our studio with a brand new Avata sitting on the table. Thank you, DJI, for sending us another one. Apologies for losing the first one. Now, this issue of the battery flying out the back on collision, I don't want to make too big a deal out of it. We need to see some consumer feedback on this one. We certainly got a bit unlucky, but we got unlucky twice in the course of not many flights. And the second time it was terminal. We couldn't make it beep with the Find My Drone. Any notion that you could use turtle mode is certainly out the question, and we had a corrupted video file in the first instance where we actually found the drone. So we need that battery to be secure. In fact, at the end of Matti Hapoya's video on this topic, his friend drops the Avata on the floor from about this height, battery pops out the back. So I don't think we're going to be the only ones with that issue anyway. We have a makeshift solution here. Cable ties, loop it through the frame of the drone, round the back, tuck it under here, and the little rubberized electrical connector should hold it in enough in the event of a collision, because collisions are just going to be part of this pursuit. That's why that drone has been built so robustly and with user replaceable parts. They've done a great job in that respect, but we need that battery to stay put, not to mention the fact they're quite expensive if you make a habit of losing them. Unfortunately, it means we're going to have to snip the cable tie every time we change the battery, but so be it. It's going to have to be that way because I don't trust myself to not crash this again. I simply don't. And the very nature of flying FPV is high risk and high reward. The more risk you take, the more reward you're going to get with those shots. The closer you fly to things, the faster you fly, the more exciting it's going to be. But obviously the risk goes through the roof, and that's why this thing is built to be durable. Now, of course, you and I need to take ownership when it comes to flying a drone responsibly and within our level of skill, but when we're flying on the basis that we have access to Find My Drone and the ability to make the thing beep to help you find it in a field of grass, or turtle mode for that matter, I want access to it, and that means the battery has to stay put in the drone. So for now, cable ties it is. One thing that became clear to me throughout this entire experience is that you don't have to fly the Avata in manual mode to enjoy this drone. If you have no intention of firing this thing off a waterfall or down the side of a building, it doesn't matter. You will have more than enough fun in normal mode and sports mode. For all the reasons I won't repeat, we didn't get to fully enjoy the motion controller with the Avata, but it is an excellent way of controlling this drone in normal and sports mode. Really intuitive, really enjoyable, so stay tuned for more content on that one. The Dji Avata is by all accounts an outstanding product. There's not really a weak link in the chain here. From our traditional filmmaking perspective, the camera, great. Serves its purpose and more than meets the requirements there. The drone itself is robust, fit for purpose. We have user replaceable parts and it's affordable to switch those out if you do manage to crack these ducts or this top frame. We of course have this battery issue that I've mentioned, although we'll not get too caught up in that one just now. In terms of the digital video transmission, incredible. You don't have to get these new goggles, especially if you already own these ones. They work with the Avata. In all honesty, I find these more comfortable on my face. There's a little bit more circulation of air in there, so they're less likely to steam up. These ones press down on my nose and make it a little bit hard for me to breathe, but if portability is an issue, and performance for that matter, then yes, by all accounts, these new ones are absolutely fantastic. In terms of the controller and control, we have the best failsafe you could ever hope to have on an FPV drone, which is an emergency brake. Added to that, it's not even that expensive when you compile all these parts together independently for a Cinewhoop system and then tag a camera on top. I think this would end up being cheaper in all honesty, certainly if you're looking for comparable performance. And added to that, this thing is almost like a hybrid drone, you can say. You can fly this like a Mavic. As you saw in some of our shots, you get the kind of Mavic stabilized shots. You can put horizon lock on there as well if you're in any doubt on that one. And then of course you can tear it up in full FPV mode if you wish. So very, very impressive. Do stay tuned here for more content. Please leave your comments below. Check out the description for all our freebies and free guides and all the rest of it. And we will see you next time.